Last time we talked about different things, and this time round we are going to be looking at the geographical data acquisition or techniques. In other words, how data can be obtained in our environment or within or to the atmosphere, to the landscape. I told you that here we shall be looking at land surveying. We look at the aerial photographs and also look at the satellite images. Specifically, when you look at the surveillance, this one it is actually practical work where an individual goes into an area to establish given information. You may be told to establish the distances concerning a given particular area. Then you try to tell those people. You may be told to sample. You may be told to pick up different soil samples, and here you'll be engaged actually directly into or with an interaction with the environment to determine the different soil samples depending to different levels in terms of the slope. Then I talked about the aerial photographs. These photographs are taken using different instruments, for instance, helicopters, airplanes. Talk about drones, in other words, to capture informations when they appear to be above. And then talk about the satellite images. These ones they are got direct from the satellite. In other words, image capture information that be trying to be appearing onto the Earth's surface, but also within the Earth or within the atmosphere. That is what we call the satellite images. Now, when you look at what we call land surveying, we are saying that alignments, then we earlier talk about the altitude. That's what we are going to mainly look at. When you look at our concept, they're talking about the types and their roles. Talk about convectional symbols. Talk about the distance types and angular measurements in there. Then also look at the uses of the field books in a detailed survey. Then we shall be looking at the basic survey transverse. Then look at the basic leveling activities. That will be our major emphasis. And now when we push on here, we have what you call the intended objectives at the end of that sessions that we shall be looking at. Now, when you look at some of the types of surveying, we have what we call plan surveying. This one mainly focuses on the Earth's surface, with the assumption of the Earth's surface is a plane. Therefore, ignore the curvature nature of the Earth. In other words, this one curves the nature of the Earth. It deals with something that may be appearing onto the Earth. Mainly for it deals with the information that tends to be appearing on the Earth's surface. That's what we call the plane surveying focus. Then also we look at what we call geodynamic surveying. This one is mainly concerned with the boundaries and the calculations of the end of monthly volumes. Another, this one tends to be looking at boundaries. Together, it looks at the boundaries where surveyors or people that are engaged in surveying go on to find out the necessary information. When we go back here up, I talked about sorry, the other one was not the actual thing that we wanted to look at, but let's go back here and see the types clearly. And now, sorry, I say that for geodacty surveying, for it is concerned with determining the size and shape of the Earth's surface, and also provides the high accuracy standard work frame that are necessary for observing or for controlling the level of order survey. In others, for it covers a relatively large area compared to what we call the plain. Now when you look at the two, they are showing that geoduct surveying and the plain surveying. Now when you look at the first one, the duct surveying method, for it is trying to show you the wider area and looks at the shape and the size, how it is appearing. Then when you look at the next picture or the next illustration, it shows people putting up different measuring instruments, trying to establish the distances through the use of different instruments. You are seeing two people, one on the other hand and the other on the other hand. Then we are seeing what we call a meter level in there in the middle. Then that means that this people are trying to measure the distance. Now they are seeing the roles of a surveyor. These are the things we are going to be looking at. They are saying that the caudal surveyors, these ones are concerned with determinations or determination of property boundaries. For instance, land boundaries. Those are what we call the caudal surveyors. Then when you look at the topographical surveyors, these ones include the location of detailed information on the Earth's surface. For example, production of maps. These ones tend to use the necessary information that may be obtained specifically to be designing maps or in the production of different maps. For them, they deal in the production of different maps. Those are what we call the topographical maps. Then you have what we call the engineer surveys. These ones mainly deal with what we call the building structures or the building. For them, they make their surveys under buildings, talk about construction of railways, bridges, and also determine the volume of irregular and irregular figures that tend to be used in the operation or that somebody may be need in doing a specific activities. Those are what we call the engineer surveys tasks. Then when we proceed, we are seeing minor surveys, mainly track